Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to be back in Sweden, as you can probably tell from the background, and in my last couple of days in Japan I actually did a little Stigbergets order, so I've got some interesting Swedish beers to review for you over the next little while, as well as some different Japanese things that I brought back and some kind of interesting American beers that I was able to find in Japan as well. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the next couple of videos. I do also have a couple of videos that I need to edit together that I did when I was still in England, so I will make sure those get published over the next little while as well. But for this one though, we are going to return to a Swedish brewery who are quite well known these days. We're going back to Gothenburg, which, as I've mentioned to you before, is the craft beer city when it comes to Sweden. So for this one we're going back to Stigbergets Bryggeri and we're having a taste of the Bird in Hand. So this one is the latest release that they have through Systembolaget. They've been releasing a good few beers, IPAs recently. Some of them have made it to Sweden, some of them I've seen over in Denmark, but this is the latest release that they've done through Systembolaget. So the Bird in Hand is a double IPA coming in at 8% ABV, and it's meant to be quite nice, this actually. It's I think it had a rating of 96 overall on Rate Beer, and I think it was 3.8 that it had actually on Untappd as well. So yeah, this one should be a nice beer from Stigbergets. So as always, I hope you guys enjoy my take on this one, and I'm certainly looking forward to it. So anyway, as is usual with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I'll be able to do from Stigbergets in the future. No doubt there will be some more of those fairly soon. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, state, county, prefecture, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Swedish beers that I've reviewed for you. That's constantly being added to, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Stigbergets Bryggeri then, on to my brewery notes. So as I've mentioned to you before, Stigbergets Bryggeri are based in Gothenburg, or Göteborg as you'd say in Swedish, and they were founded by Nils Hultkrantz and Richard Simonsson, and the pair own two bars that share the one kitchen. This is the Bar Chino and the Hagebjörn's Cafe, which are located on Linnegatan in the city, and both of these of course opened back in 2007. So the company is just a little bit more than 10 years old. But originally the idea was to brew a few beers that they could sell in the bars, and this led to them kegging and selling the beer to other pubs, and eventually to bottling it, which started late in November of 2014. But their original beers were mainly English and German styles, but of course more recently they started expanding into the American, more hoppy beer styles, and this of course is where they've really made their name. So they started out with a 1,000 litre brew kit from Slovakia, and they upgraded to a 2,000 JTM system from Denmark in December of 2015, and they actually doubled that capacity within the small brewery that they had. They were joined originally at the brewery by two brewers, one of whom was Ole Andersson, but he was the co-owner of OO Brewing and has now gone to focus his efforts solely on that. Very, very well-renowned brewer in Sweden. They also had Barnaby Struve, who was one of the vice presidents at Three Floyds for a period of time as well. But they very recently opened up a new brewery in Partihalarna, where they brew 5,000 litres at a time, and they're also beginning to work on some sour beers as well. So I think there'll be some very, very interesting beers coming out from these guys in terms of sour beers fairly soon. But they've now got a brew team of Ollie Banks, who was formerly from Beavertown in London, and also Lucas Munrade, who used to work for All In Brewing Company, who are one of the quite well regarded Swedish gypsy breweries from the Gothenburg area. So yeah, a brewery that really, really made their name probably around the sort of 2016 time with a very renowned Swedish brewer. And if you want to try some of his beers, I really do recommend you have a look at OO Brewing. I need to review a few more of their beers because they've been releasing more. But Stigbergets are one of the best known Swedish craft breweries these days, and you can't really go wrong with them. You know, if you like a nice big IPA, a New England IPA, these guys are one of the breweries that have been doing very, very well in that style lately. It's been the last couple of brews, it has been a little bit kind of up and down, but from what I gather they are starting to get back on form, which is always good to see. So yeah, that's all you really need to know about the brewery just now. If you want to learn a little bit more, you can check out the brewery website in the description below, and you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that, and that'll keep you up to date with all the latest goings on. But they are starting to get a little bit more prolific with their beers as well, which is always nice to see. So yeah, let's get on to the tasting of this one itself. So as I mentioned to you, this guy is a double IPA coming in at 8% ABV. It doesn't tell you on the website or the Facebook or anything like that what hops they've put in this one. But yeah, so with this beer we can play a little bit of guess the hop, as I always enjoy doing. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork again before we open this one up. As you can see, quite nicely presented, a little bit of a kind of space psychedelic sort of thing. Well, not, this isn't quite psychedelic actually, it's more just a sort of, almost like a Space Odyssey 2001 sort of theme to this one. It reminds me a little bit of that, which is very, very cool. But yeah, there you can see one of the little galaxies, just, if I can move my finger in the right direction, you can see the little galaxy just up here, which I always thought was very cool. But yeah, without further ado then, let's get this guy out and we'll get on with the tasting. As you can see now as well, Stigbergets have made the transition from selling their beers in 330ml bottles to these 440ml tall boy cans. And this is something, you know, I've never really understood this. They're kind of copying a little bit the American, you know, some of the American breweries, and using the there we go, there's a bit of the haze coming out. They're copying some of the American breweries and using this slightly bigger can, you know, like the American pint basically, which is around the kind of 450ml mark. So they're copying this, and I've never understood that. Why not just sell it in a ½ litre like we've always kind of done in Europe? But at the same time, Sweden is always, and Denmark from what I understand, have always sold their beers in 400ml rather than a ½ litre. But yeah, this one looks really nice. It's not quite as hazy as some of the ones I've seen from Stigbergets before, but in terms of colour, I'd describe this one as quite a nice bright yellow colour. I'm just checking the camera and you're seeing that quite nicely. There's a solid, it was a 2-finger frothy white head. It's going down a little bit. I would say this is a perfect white head rather than even being a touch creamy. Definitely a nice perfect white head. When you open this beer up as well, you're getting some really, really nice fruity notes out of it. But yeah, lovely looking beer. Nothing surprising in terms of its appearance when you consider that it's a, you know, a New England IPA, this one. Put your fingers behind the glass, you can see there is a bit of transparency to this one. It's not as hazy as some of the New England IPAs that you're going to come across that are, you know, pretty much soup. But yeah, this one looks very, very nice, and it looks very inviting, and as I say, nothing overly surprising when you consider this one is a New England IPA. So let's take a closer look at the aroma and just see how we get on with this. Ooh, that smells very nice. I'm going to put my betting thing on and just say I think there's Citra in this. Straight away out of this one, you get a good little bit of mango, but you're also getting some nice kind of light cheese and things in there. I suspect there's maybe a little bit of galaxy in it as well, because there is a sort of slightly passion fruity note, I think. It could be Simcoe right enough, but I think with the level of complexities of tropical fruit you've got in this one, I think it's more likely to be Galaxy. The Simcoe's a very straight up passion fruit, but the Galaxy has a little bit of the passion fruit, but it's also got more of that tropical note, like pineapples and things like that. For me, there's definitely a little bit of pineapple coming out of this one. So mangoes from some Citra, I think, and a little bit of passion fruit and pineapple from Galaxy. I don't know if there might be something else in there. But yeah, I would say, I think Citra and Galaxy, that would be my bets in this one. I'm not sure if there's anything else. There might be a little bit, but in terms of the fruitiness of the beer, mangoes, definitely a little bit of passion fruit in there as well. Some pineapple. You can get a little bit of that lychee note, and there's almost a little touch. I think there's a little tiny bit of a slightly limey character to this one, but that can be one of the complexities that you'll get from Citra. Of course, if you really want a big limey blast of a beer, that's when you would use Equinox, to be honest. Another lovely hop, you know, Galaxy's an Australian hop that's become very, very popular over the last little while. I would be guessing that it's because farmers are producing a higher volume of this in recent times. But yeah, Enigma's another hop from Australia to watch out. It's got a lovely kind of grapey note to it, but it's got a little bit of a red fruity character as well. One that you definitely need to check out. But yeah, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this beer before you get stuck into it. It does smell very nice. Underneath the hops, of course, you've got a little bit of that kind of creamy, oaty quality that you'd expect to the New England IPA. It's almost got a little bit of a biscuity sweetness to it as well, and you can smell some of the sort of white, the kind of wheaty, white, smooth breadness to it. In terms of the grassy and floral side of the hops, I would say this one's leaning a bit more towards the grassy side of things as well. But yeah, lovely smelling beer, this one. Just trying to see if I've missed anything in terms of fruitiness and stuff like that, but I don't think so. In terms of aroma, this one's definitely a nice kind of big sort of tropical juicy note. So yeah, as I always say, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of your beers before you get stuck in. But we are going to try this one now. So this one is the Bird in Hand, a double IPA coming in at 8% ABV. From Stigbergets Bryggeri up in Gothenburg here in Sweden. Let's get stuck in. Their latest release from Systembolaget Slange. Skål. That's pretty good actually. This one to me, just first impression is that it's got a little bit of bite to it. There you can see this beer's just, I was thinking it was getting a little touch more hazy. But yeah, this one to me has a little bit more of a hoppy bite compared to some of the other ones. But maybe it's, I think since I've been in Japan right enough, it's been a little while since I've drank this style properly, because the Japanese ones of course are a little bit kind of smoother if you like. But yeah, this one to me has a little bit more bite about it compared to some of the other ones that I can remember from Stigbergets. I think the last IPA that I reviewed from these guys was the New and Improved, which was really, really nice. But yeah, it's a very, very solid New England IPA, this one. And I think, again, I've said this about the New England IPAs before, I'm noticing a bit of a trend with them these days, that they're going from being a little bit like soup, kind of soupy qualities, to having a little bit more of a slightly oily mouthfeel. It's almost like you're taking the New England flavours but trying to incorporate a little bit more of a kind of West Coasty mouthfeel to them. I felt that about some of these New England IPAs for a little while actually, and again this one's kind of reflecting that trend for me. But yeah, the centre of your palate with this one, you can feel there's that nice kind of wheaty quality that just blankets the middle of your palate. You've got a little bit of a white bready base there. On top of that you can feel that there's a slightly thicker kind of creamy oaty quality coming out of the beer, and right in the centre of your palate there's a nice kind of biscuity note to this one too. But yeah, I like how everything's going together in this one. I mean, it's another, basically to say, if you like the Stigbergets IPAs, then again, this is one that you're going to enjoy. I mean, compared to, you know, like the likes of the Amazing Haze and the Muddle and the New and Improved, this one is, you know, this one's a little bit more like along that trend where I'm saying they're getting a little bit more oily in their mouthfeel. I did review one of their other canned IPAs recently that wasn't the New and Improved, and the name's gone from me now, I can't remember what it was. But yeah, this one, compared to the other ones, this one's not quite as thick and creamy as the likes of the Muddle and Amazing Haze and stuff like that. It's definitely more of a kind of slightly more, pardon me, oily interpretation of the New England style. So I think I took a little bit of that down the wrong way. But yeah, the malt base on this one's exactly what you'd expect, but just a little bit more kind of oily. The hoppy side of things, though, has everything that you would expect. So in the back corners of the palate, there's a teeny little bit of earthiness. As you come further forward along the sides of your palate, it gradually gets more floral. It's not quite a spicy floral note, but it does have a good little bit of aromaticity to it. Then round the very front curve of the palate, the beer is just a little bit more kind of grassy, but at the same time there's a little bit more of that kind of floral aromatic element around the front curve of the tongue there. But yeah, that's really quite nice. I like how everything's going together in this one, as I've said a couple of times. But behind the front curve of the palate, that's where you're getting that nice oily bubble where those juicy, fruity qualities are starting to come out of the beer. For me, again, this one's got a nice little bit of passion fruit to it. I do think there's a bit of Galaxy in here. But then again, it could be Simcoe, but I'm more thinking it's Galaxy. There's a tiny little bit of grapefruit note in there, right? And that, again, that makes me think Citra, because Citra can have a little touch of that darker grapefruity note to it. But again, passion fruit and grapefruit for me are slightly darker in terms of their flavour when it comes to tropical fruits, but there's a little bit of that towards the back of the front of your tongue, and as you go further forward in this beer, you get a little bit more mango and passion fruit And on the front kind of tip of your tongue, that's where you're getting the more kind of fruity complexities out of this one. There's a little bit of lychee in here. I think there's a little touch of a lemony lime note, and these are the complexities that you would get from Citra. But there's also a little bit of a kind of with this beer, I want to say the further into the aftertaste you go, I think there's a little bit of an apricot-y note to this one, and also a little bit of pineapple. The pineapple is likely to come from Galaxy if that's what they've used in here. But yeah, again, as I say, if you like these Stigbergets IPAs, then you're going to enjoy this one. It's another very solid offering, I think, and you can't ask for much more than them from that. It's a style, obviously, they like brewing this style, and they've just they've given another very solid offering, so not much more you can really ask for them. And you know, the Citra and the Galaxy, I think, go together quite well. It's a hot combination that many brewers are using, and the challenge is to find something that's nice and drinkable to sell to people, and you know, they've done a solid job of this, so thumbs up to Stigbergets for this one. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. At 8%, it is a little bit heavier than some of the other ones. Most of their beers, I think, tend to be around the sort of 6% mark. I've not had too many double IPAs from what I remember from Stigbergets. Most of them are either paleos or IPAs, so that's probably the other thing to say about this one, is that it is that little bit heavier. But good, it's a nice beer, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. In terms of the mouthfeel, this one's mid-bodied, the carbonation is very smooth. As I was saying earlier, this is one of these kind of New England hazy style IPAs that has a little bit more of the oily mouthfeel. So there's a bit of creaminess in here, and there's a little bit of oily character as well, and it's just about finding that balance. Good little bit of hoppy bitterness, I would guess somewhere around 40 IBUs this one. I'm finding this one a little bit more bitter than some of the other ones that I've had recently, but again, if it's a higher alcohol beer, you would get a little bit more of a hoppy character out of it, because they do that to balance it. Good balance between the kind of smoothness and sweetness in the malt base in this one, and you've got some nice juicy fruity qualities as well. So yeah, it's another, you know, as I say, it's another very solid beer, and I think if I think about it, I've got a feeling this might be the first double IPA that I've reviewed from them on the channel. I've had a lot of IPAs from these guys, but I think this is the heaviest beer that I've reviewed from them for you before as well. But yeah, another very, very solid offering from Stigbergets, and if you like a double IPA rather than IPA, have a go at this one. I'm hoping that I can review their Visions as well. I've heard that the Visions is a very, very nice beer, so have a go at that. So hopefully I can have a go at that one for you soon. But if you like the Stigbergets IPAs and you want something a bit heavier, then have a go at this one. I'm pretty sure it's still quite widely available through the online order system in Stigbergets. But yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. So this one was the Bird in Hand, really quite nice double IPA. I'm pretty certain this one's using Citra, and it's using a bit of Citra and a bit of Galaxy, which is quite a popular combination these days, and it's a little bit heavier compared to the other things you're going to find from Stigbergets. So if you like their IPAs but want something heavier, then have a go at this one and see how you get on. But yeah, let's leave it at that. So once again, thank you for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know your own thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Stigbergets as well, and have a go at this one while you've got the chance, and I'm sure I'll return to Stigbergets for you soon, and I do need to review some of the OO Brewing IPAs for you as well. But thanks again for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Make sure you check out my social media and have a go at some of these Stigberget beers. Slàinte, skål, kanpai.